very habitable man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Overnight, Democrats celebrating a series of key victories, with abortion rights again proving to be a potent political issue heading into 2024.
The abortion access is the law of the land in Ohio.
Yay! In one of the country's most watched swing state races, Ohioans voting to guarantee abortion access, enshrining that right into the state's constitution. Ohio becoming the 7th state to vote to protect abortion rights since the Supreme Court's ruling last year overturning Roe v. Wade.
We own our own bodies.
In deep red Kentucky, abortion rights also at the heart of Democratic Governor Andy Beshear's re-election campaign.
This is our chance to build that Commonwealth we have always dreamed of, to stop the fighting, to push away the division.
Beshear defeating the state's Republican Attorney General Daniel Cameron, who was backed by former President Trump and opposed abortion rights.
This brick wall means we maintain our majority in the Senate.
Oh, wow. And in Virginia, a tidal wave for Democrats who held on to their state Senate majority and took control of the House of Delegates, too. A dramatic rebuke of Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin, who was counting on a solidly red legislature to pass a ban on abortion after 15 weeks, with exceptions for rape and incest and saving the life of the mother.
So any sort of scale back of those rights, roll back of those rights that Governor Youngkin was offering, essentially, was repudiated tonight.
One election night win for Republicans in Mississippi.
Thank you, Mississippi.
Where incumbent Tate Reeves won a second term as governor, beating Democrat Brandon Presley, the cousin of a famous Mississippian, Elvis. And in Philadelphia, history was made. Democrat Sherelle Parker becoming the first female mayor in the city of brotherly love.
Well... All right, we lost the Elvis thing. It was fat old Elvis, but it's better than running Jerry Lee Lewis's second cousin, right? Right? Woohoo, everybody. They didn't even touch on in that report. They didn't even get to like Iowa school boards. Iowa, we won like every single school. Virginia, we won like every single school board. They retained. I mean, and this was Moms for Liberty's domain. This is what they were gonna take over the school. Turns out Americans are not. They're not big on book banning. They don't really dig it. They think it's pretty Nazi, is what it is. So.
As far as Mississippi goes, we're going to need somebody like Cornbread to beat a guy like Tater in Mississippi, something down home to really compete.
Tater, they despise Tater. And when I was looking at the map of Mississippi last night, you could see just how segregated that state is. It's unbelievable. Like, you got like the whole western portion of Mississippi with no ballots. Did you see that at all last night? Did anybody see that? No ballots. I mean, this poor woman, I was watching her on Twitter trying to, Xerox ballots, trying to get ballots going, trying to get them out. The lines in Hinds County, which is Jackson, were, hours long. And we're talking Mississippi, okay? We're talking Mississippi. People, the Democratic part of Mississippi, the black part of Mississippi, lined up for hours to vote Democratic. To vote for the Democrat. And they waited and waited to the point where they had to hold the polls open for an hour because a judge actually said, "What do you mean you don't have any ballots? This happens every year." Yeah, and it does. It's the same places over and over. It's freaking Satsuma, Alabama, and it's Jackson, Mississippi. Always running out of the ballots, always running out, and delivering about 100 of them at a time. Just parsing them out piecemeal. Yeah. So, listen, you know who I was very upset about? So, that Ohio, congratulations. You beat it, and beat it back. You really did. They had that bogus election in August. That was so confusing that I was getting it backwards, remember? Vote yes today. No, they're going, no, you vote no today. Oh, my God. Well, August, they tried to raise the threshold for these referendums to 60% before they could even be on the ballot. People in Ohio just said, no, that's not happening here, okay? We just can't wait until this election when we can vote in the election proper and tell you people that you messed up so hard when you took rights, a right, not a privilege, a right away from women. When you did that, you really, really messed up, dudes. And I'll tell you, the men, I was looking at the exit polls, the men in Ohio, they were split. They were split, like 50-50 almost. Right down the ass crack the men were. You know, like, I couldn't believe it. But the women, they were like, oh, screw you. Really, we're done with you. We've had it with you. Stop, dragging my heart around or whatever. You know, they were adamant about it. And so it was interesting that Virginia also went down in flames. The legislature, the state legislature, which, you know, the very president. Oh, wait, let me not. Did I leave Mississippi? Yes. Oh, no. So I wanted to do it this way. So now we're in Virginia. And Glenn Youngkin actually was saying to the electorate, listen, here's what you want to do. You want to show up in this off election, and you want to actually give me the Senate, and if you can, you know, the House too. And I will progress. This was his word. I will progress a 15-week abortion ban. Well, women and men who have gone through pregnancies with women understand that sometimes you don't get the really bad news until past 15 weeks. Do you know what I'm saying? And that this health care is not up for grabs, okay? It's not for Glenn Youngkin to decide. But he thought he had pulled it 8 ways to Sunday, and he had found the sweet spot. Oh, men, what is wrong with you? Really? You will never find it. Never. I could tell you what the most popular small appliance is. Never mind. Anyway, so he thought he had found the sweet spot. He thought he was the one. And he missed so far. I mean, he was so far that he wasn't even in the same room with the spot. Okay? And people just said, oh, no, oh, hell no. And now, not only are you going to have no trifecta, but you're going to lose the entire state legislature because we don't want you restricting health care for women. We just don't. And you know what drives me crazy? Okay, so you know all that, right? The media's told you all that, and you were probably just checking in on the poll returns last night and blah, blah, blah. But did you realize, I bet you did not, and I need you to, because this is how bad Mississippi is. It's not about Tater anymore, okay? He is the second most despised governor in the United States, and still he won elections. Okay, he won re-election. That tells you everything and anything you need to know about the electorate in Mississippi. It does. It's sad, but it does. It tells you everything you need to know. And by the way, both of these guys that were on the ballot last night, I mean, Elvis's second cousin is not exactly Jerry Lee Lewis's second cousin, okay? He's pro-life too. I guess Jerry Lee Lewis's guy is the guy that got the age lowered to, 12 or whatever. I don't know. But in Mississippi, I want to show you this. This woman here, see her? This one here? Lynn Finch, Attorney General. Do you know anything about her? Obviously, this is from last night. This is off of Twitter. I just took a random winner photo, okay, from WLBT Channel 3 on your side. Local Mississippi TV. You know who she is? She's the Attorney General who invented the case Dobbs versus Jackson Health. She's the one that argued it. She's the one that actually got the Supreme Court to say, no, it isn't a right. You're right, Lynn. And all these people are rejecting the abortion bans, but the woman who created it gets reelected.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Folks, this wasn't my win. This was our victory. It was a victory that sends a loud, clear message. A message that candidates should run for something and not against someone.
Nice.
That a candidate should show vision and not sow division.
Needs work.
And a clear statement that anger politics should end right here and right now.
Good luck with that.
Just look at what we were up against. 5 super PACs. My opponent's super PAC, Mitch McConnell's super PAC, Rand Paul's super PAC, the Club for Growth, the Republican Governors Association, all running ads full of hate and division. And you know what? We beat them all at the same time.
Woo-hoo. I like this guy. Andy Bashir, won in a state that Trump won by 26 points. Do you realize that? Kentucky is so red that Donald Trump prevailed by 26 percentage points. 26. Ohio, Trump won by 8, which is incredible too. But 26 points. And Andy Bashir stands up there. He's 45 years old, for God's sake. I don't know, somebody looking to, put somebody on a vice presidential list. I'm sure his name is appearing, in various lists of various candidates of the Democratic persuasion. This guy is like amazing. I think his dad was governor of Kentucky too, so they know him, they know his family, and they really trust him. They really like him. They like what he produces for them. He brought the battery I mean, this is he last night. Bashir was actually telling the audience that Kentucky benefited from Biden's policies, something that Joe Biden calls Bidenomics. But people, honestly, I was watching Simone Sanders, and she hit the nail on the head, too, last night. She said, not only do you owe Biden an apology, everybody, all of you, because the only poll that matters is the one that they take on Election Day, right? But she was saying, listen, here's the thing. So Bashir was telling people, showing them what they get from him, what they get. Not calling it Bidenomics, but showing them we got this massive battery factory. We got all these jobs. A growth in Kentucky is through the roof. It's got to do with green energy production. It's got to do with investment in the private sector, matching what the government is creating as far as green energy alternatives to fossil fuels, while never giving up America's standing in the world as being a net exporter of fossil fuels. I mean, he did such a great job explaining to the people of Kentucky just exactly what they get with him. And he won the coal counties. He literally won the coal counties. He went and he campaigned, and this is just mind-blowing. He campaigned in the reddest of counties in Kentucky. Now, I lived in the reddest counties in Ohio. I mean, I've lived in counties that, yesterday, I always have to check and see, like, in Mississippi, I lived in Tishomingo County. They voted for Tater. I mean, like, there wasn't even one vote, I don't think, for, Presley. And they're just north of Tupelo. Really, didn't see any votes at all. And then, I went and looked at the county I used to live in Ohio. And of course, they were voting for an abortion ban, like all of them, all 17,000 of them. I don't know. I honestly, I'm not sure. Maybe, I don't even want to say it. But okay, so Bashir went to these really, really red counties in Kentucky, and he told them that the abortion ban was going to be bad for the health of women there, and actually campaigned on the abortion issue in the reddest counties in Kentucky. And people were amenable to his message. Now, everybody's going to go, yeah, but he's not Biden. And, yeah, well, I got news for you. Mr. Cameron was endorsed by Donald Trump. Daniel Cameron was, he was the primary winner for the Republican nomination for the governor's, race by Donald Trump.
A big thank you to President Donald J. Trump for his support and his endorsement of this campaign. Let me just say, the Trump culture of winning is alive and well in Kentucky. Well, that didn't turn out exactly how I wanted it to. I promised the governor I'd be brief, so I'll be brief tonight and say thank you all.
Cute. So it was sort of kind of the policies, at least, of a MAGA candidate versus a Biden candidate, a real Biden Democrat who went throughout the state of Kentucky telling people without calling it Bidenomics how they were benefiting from the policies of the Democratic Party, from the policies of Joe Biden, from the policies of not banning books, from the policies of not banning abortion, from the policies of, expansion of Medicaid, which this guy here, the Trump-endorsed guy, is like telling people, we're going to have to cut Medicaid. We're going to have to do that. I mean, there's just no way we can't afford it, blah, blah, blah. And just preaching about taking stuff away from people. And the people understood it. You know why? Because they're starting to feel it for real. For real. Everybody, oh, well, I'm young and I feel poor. Yeah, well, wake up and smell the prosperity because it's happening. It's on. This is a thing. So it's the policies. It's the policies that have to be talked about, right? And I'm just, I'm not as afraid because then what you need to do if you really want to, get off, if you really want to have a fun time, go watch the Republicans last night. Well, we can't win. We don't know how to win. With Donald Trump and Donald Trump's mouth and Donald Trump's policies and now Donald Trump's prosecutions, they have to run in these red states, okay, with all of that as him as their nominee, okay? And they know that since Donald Trump has been the nominee, they lost the first midterm election in 2018. They lost the presidential in 2020. They lost a midterm in 2022. They lost this off-year election. The only thing that they won last night is one Mississippi gubernatorial race because he was a goober, and they said, yeah, he's our goober, whatever. I don't know. White people last night were very, very busy voting against their own interests. They voted against Roe. They voted for a guy who they know, at least I hope they do, gave away their federal money for food, to Brett Favre. They said, oh, well, we're white people in Mississippi. We have to vote against our own best interest because we don't know what else to do. We don't know. But he's Elvis's second cousin. He's also like the public works guy or something like that. Give him a shot. No, I can't. I got to keep voting against my own best interest. I have to keep voting that way. I don't know how else to cope and deal. I just need to say, at least I'm not black. Okay? This is where I get my joy. And so I'm voting for him. I am. Like, really? Okay. All right.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
As far as, it does seem like the Republican Party generally has a real problem with winning.
So much winning.
It certainly was in the midterms here and now in this one as well. And you wonder, do we have the right people in place to be putting the messaging together to the people that are supposed to be there to get the early vote out, to do these jobs? You wonder about the RNC. Do we have the right people running the show? Because we're not doing something right. I think that's very obvious.
I think I got that off of Gloria Johnson's Twitter feed. You remember Gloria Johnson from the Tennessee state legislature with the Justins? Gloria's running for the United States Senate now from Tennessee. I wish, I mean, like I said, I would almost move there just so I could vote for her. It's an amazing thing. It's just beautiful. But anyway, she posted that, and I think she wrote delightful. So I had to see what was turning her on last night, and it was Newsmax sitting there weeping, just weeping. Do we have the right stuff? I mean, we lost in the midterm. You forget you lost in the midterms right after Donald Trump became the president of the United States. You lost the midterms in 2018. Okay, you had the House, you had the Senate, you had the trifecta of power, and you blew it because this man couldn't shut up about Muslim bans. This man couldn't shut up about oh, this is my African American. He couldn't shut up about caravans and George Soros and conspiracy theories and oh my God. And then He was resoundingly defeated in the after 2018 and 2020, and the guy had an insurrection. He literally did violence or had his people do violence against the United States. Yes, our country. Our country. People are worried about other countries. Don't worry about other countries. They got that. And why is everybody focused on just one other country? It's fascinating to me. I bet, well, I don't even want to say it, but there was a massacre last night. Somebody's going to have to look it up and figure it out. What am I talking about? Big massacre. Huge. Okay. I don't want to. Anyway, so some of their pundits were on the TV trying to explain away why their policies suck so hard. And Rick Santorum, oh, yes, he's still around. Google him. That's fun. Rick Santorum actually said it's because the issues were abortion and marijuana, which was only an issue in Ohio, where people actually said, yes, we're going to recreate with marijuana. You know what I love about this bill for the marijuana thing in Ohio, the recreational that passed? It's not just that you can, do what you want and we're actually free. And it turns out that Democrats are the party of freedom and Republicans are not. They want to take rights away and they want to restrict lots of stuff that you like to play with. But anyway, the thing I like the most about it is that you can grow it now. And here in Florida, you can't grow it. When I grow it, I'm doing something illegal. Promise. I'm not allowed to grow, not even one plant. I grow 3 every year, 3. That's it. My big 3. That's illegal. But so Rick Santorum decided that because in one state, in Ohio, marijuana and abortion were on the ballot, except there was no governor's race. You weren't voting for DeWine or his beautiful babe of a wife, Mrs. DeWine. I don't know. People were like, these are the people that want to tell us how to live our life. Really? Look at them. Do they look like they're having any fun? No, they don't. You know what they look like? They look like the family with the pitchfork, the American Gothic, painting. That's who Mike DeWine and his wife look like. They look just like that. But anyway, Rick Santorum said, you had abortion, you had marijuana. For Rick Santorum, this is sexy time. Sexy time.
You put very sexy things like abortion and marijuana on the ballot, and a lot of young people come out and vote. It was a secret sauce for disaster in Ohio. I don't know what they were thinking, but that's why I thank goodness that most of the states in this country don't allow you to put everything on the ballot because pure democracies are not the way to run a country.
He's got a beef with democracy. He's got a beef with it. They let you put any damn thing on the ballot. Any kind of question about your freedom is on the ballot, and that's bad. That's pure poison for us. We don't want sexy time on the ballot. Seriously, these guys, they just reveal themselves whenever they're floundering around trying to explain to you why they're losers. So much winning. I thought there was going to be, what were you going to do with your spare time? You'd just be celebrating all the time. All the time, everybody. It was abortion. It was marijuana in Ohio. Okay, so what was it in Virginia? It was abortion. Well, maybe. Maybe it was. So what is that telling the Republicans? Is it telling them that people don't want their rights taken? No, it's telling them that's sexy time. So sad. Kurt in Ohio.
Thank you, Randy, for taking my call. I do appreciate it. And I'm sorry I couldn't talk yesterday when I was on hold. I had to get moving, and I wasn't able to talk when I was doing that.
Uh-huh.
So, anywho, I voted yes on both issues.
Good.
In Ohio.
Did you enjoy it? Was it fun for you? Was it sexy?
You know what? I was so exhausted from winning, I actually had to take the day off of work today. Now, the way I look at it is, this wasn't just 1 or 2 defeats for Frank LaRose, our Secretary of State.
Mm-hmm.
This is the second and third defeat in 2023, because the first one was that August 8th defeat that he had.
Right.
And this doesn't look good for Mr. Secretary LaRose, who basically changed the wording on our ballot take away fetus and
yes, he
live
did.
birth
That's right. He took
or
the word
unborn child.
Yes, fetus. He took fetus because fetus he thought was very sexy, and so he put.
Well, he thought fetus was too generic, and
he thought
unborn child would
he
be
thought
more sexy.
fetus was sexy, and unborn child would somehow invoke, the Jesus thing. How
Exactly.
right.
So what I see is a 3-time loser in 2023 going up in 2024 against our Senator Sherrod Brown in the next election.
Oh, right. That's right. He's running against Sherrod. Oh, yeah. Good luck with that. Ohio,
And,
Ohio
and
is not in the mood right now. They're just not in the mood. Virginia is not in the mood either.
Absolutely.
Pennsylvania is not in the mood. These are the Midwestern states, okay? This is exactly what Joe Biden has taken from Rust Belt into the Battery Belt. People know it, and they are feeling it, and all the Republicans keep coming at you with is culture.
Abortion, gay marriage, and
culture wars, right? And they're
Yep.
like, F your culture wars, okay? Been
Exactly.
there, done that. There's prosperity here. I want me some of that, okay?
Oh, and then by the way, real quickly, Mike and Fran DeWine.
Yeah.
We gotta like them. They have 6 children, 6 surviving of their 7 children. We gotta love them, right?
She looks like she's been pregnant her whole life. She does.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for taking my call, and you have a good day.
Okay. 7 kids. 7 kids. I was watching. I can't even remember who it is now. Oh, it was very sad. She was like 25. Oh, it was a story about one of the women in Palestine, in Gaza. 25, 5 kids.
Clear for takeoff. The Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
As we entered this cycle, I had pulled together leadership and said, I think we should progress a bill that protects life. And so we've done exactly that. And I just wanted to make sure people understand what we would deliver. And the candidates that are all running have all agreed this is the bill that they would progress. And so I just think it's really important that Virginians have a clear choice. And I'm a man of my word. And this is what I told people we would do.
And now your presidential hopefulness has just gone all Ron DeSantis on you. Yeah, too bad for that. Oh, there's a debate tonight. Anybody going to watch? Anybody?
I'll try. That is.
You're going to try?
I mean, it's honestly really fun.
Okay, I'll give you some reason to watch. Okay, I'll give you. Just watch for Christie. Okay, just watch for Chris Christie. That's like the best reason to watch. They're because he's the only honest guy on that stage when it comes to what he knows about Donald, okay? Who, by the way, his gorgeous daughter just testified, to the best of her recollection, which was hysterical. Ivanka Trump was on the stand in the Trump Organization fraud trial, not as a defendant. She had left the Trump Organization in 2017, so she was there as a witness. And apparently she's early onset Alzheimer's. God forbid anybody, it's a horrible thing. But she didn't recall any of it. She didn't even recall being there. She didn't recall being part of the Trump Organization. I mean, I was watching, what's her name, from the New York Times, the one that actually did the first tax article that was like a year in the making. And it was like, 40 pages worth of information about how fraudulent Trump's taxes were, when we were all clamoring to see them because he kept saying he was under audit. He was under audit. As soon as I'm not under audit, I'll show. He was lying. He was lying about everything. He lies even about whether or not he won the presidential election. Okay, he lies about that. So what won't he lie about? Oh, and by the way, I think that's their strategy in 2024. Just deny that they lost because they can't win. All of these hosts sitting there on Newsmax and OAN and Right Side Broadcasting and Fox News last night, all weeping about, bad polls don't make for good elections, I guess. I don't know.
Kentucky's a red state. Ohio's a red state. Mississippi, we don't know what will happen this evening. We hope that Reeves pulls it off, but it is a red state. Tonight, the midterm elections, the last few elections, we must recognize that as a party, good polling does not always translate into resounding victory.
You haven't had a resounding victory since 2016, and it wasn't resounding. It was James Comey reopening up an email investigation that didn't need to be reopened because the New York field office of the FBI sat on Hunter Biden's laptop. I mean, it's always Hunter Biden screwing everything up, screwing everybody up. Oh, today they subpoenaed him. But anyway, I think their strategy in 2024 is going to be the same as it was in 2020. Just deny that you lost, because they have nothing. They have nothing to offer. Absolutely zero, nothing. Goose egg, donut, squat, zero, zilch. Nothing at all. So tonight is the big debate. Trump won't be there. Ivanka just got off the stand testifying as to whether or not the organization that has her last name on it is a fraudulent thing. And the only thing she could do was to say, I don't recall. So Craig, I forget her first name, but the reporter for the New York Times, she's been doing the court commentary for MSNBC. And she said, at first, when Ivanka started taking not taking the fifth, but saying that she didn't recall this, she didn't recall that, she said she was keeping a list. And the list got like every time she said she didn't recall, she was listing like the questions where the answer was, I don't recall. And she said she just finally put her pen down because it was every question. The answer was, I don't recall. So now I believe it looks to me like the case is now with the judge, because I know Ivanka was going to be the last witness, and it looked to me like she exited the court trying very much to, have some Taylor Swift swagger in her step. Tall blondes, baby. They rule the world. Unbelievable. But anyway, she was just wearing a just plain old blue suit, with flowing, long blonde hair. Of course, I know no mothers of 3 kids that look like that at all on a Wednesday, ever. I don't know. I remember having toddlers and stuff and like wondering when I would get a shower. Does anybody recall any of that? And just weeping for no apparent reason. But there she was. And her thing to the judge was she couldn't be there on a Wednesday. I was wondering why. Do you have to Instagram with the Kardashians again? Because that's what she does on Wednesdays. She Instagrams her outfits that she's wearing as she appears with all the Kardashians. Just go check her Instagram. You'll see. I'm not making this crap up. You think I'm saying, when I say Rick Santorum thinks abortion is sexy time, I'm not making that up. Okay. So she told the judge she couldn't really be there because she lives in Florida. She's a mother of 3, and she didn't have childcare. Maybe she just didn't recall the number of the nannies that she should have in her contact list. I don't know. She seems to have like some sort of memory loss there, and it's tragic because she's, young. Tom in L.A.
Hey, Randy.
Hi.
First, this is GL Pages, Tom. We the people,
hey, long time, man. How are you?
I know, I'm doing great.
Good.
First off, we the people ultimately are the government, and I think we're proving that now by these elections.
Yeah.
I think people are finally waking up.
Except for Mississippians.
Yeah. They're finally seeing, though, that if the Republicans are spewing it, they're doing it, projection. And also, you heard that clip on Newsmax where the biggest problem was their messaging, they said. Not the actual message, not the actual policy.
Right.
But the messaging.
I don't know how much you watched of the returns last night, but that's all the Republicans would say across all media last night was we have to message it better. We have to talk about abortion differently. We have to talk about abortion better than we're talking about abortion. I'm like, so your problem isn't taking away the right of a person to decide when and with whom to have a family. Your problem is that you're not talking about tricking them in the right way. Oh, it was.
That's exactly it, Randy.
That's
exactly it. That's what they've been doing for the past 20 years, even though they.
But this was their issue, right? Wasn't this one?
Yep.
This was the gem. This was the diamond in the crown. This was the be all end all. If they could just prevail and deliver to the American people the taking away of a woman's right to choose, my God, they would be so much winning. And, you can't separate Donald Trump from this issue, even though they tried very much last night to separate him. If it wasn't for his ability to nominate 3 uber people of praise Opus Dei Catholics to the Supreme Court, this wouldn't have ever happened. There is no removing him from this issue. And I just want everyone in this audience to know that that's the answer, because I was watching them fumper around last night going, well, what if Donald, and I also saw Andrea Mitchell today asking Terry McAuliffe, like, all that's missing is a gallon of scotch for this conversation. But they were talking to each other, and she said, yes, but, what if Trump all of a sudden says that he's not for taking away a woman's right to choose? I mean, he just lies all day. He just flips and, he'll do a 180. And McAuliffe didn't have a good answer for it. And I was like, you can't separate him from these 3 justices that he picked and the result on Dobbs. You can't do that. How do you do that? How do you square that? So.
Well, and Randy, I also have learned from you over the years that, it's about a woman's right to choose or the government's right to choose. And just because a woman has the choice to terminate a pregnancy doesn't mean that she's going to. In fact, most women do not. And I wish the Democratic Party would start getting that message that, pro a woman's right to choose does not mean pro-abortion. It means pro a woman's right to choose whether to have a child or not have a child.
Well, they made a choice too, right? So choices,
Yes.
are consequential. And they made a choice to say, I want to choose for you. And we said, no, we're going to make a choice. And our choice is, I choose for me. And that's pretty much the entirety of the issue. And everybody.
Exactly. Love you, Randy.
Love you more. And everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. They've chosen too, and they've chosen for you, and we chose, and we said, no, you're not choosing for me. I'm choosing for me. You can choose for you. I'll choose for me, which is much better. It's much fairer.
Mary had a little man, black man. The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Dramatic and emotional scenes on the floor of the House of Representatives. For just the 25th time in American history, the House voted to formally censure one of its own members. Representative Rashida Tlaib, Democrat of Michigan, stood accused, in the words of the censure motion, of, quote, promoting false narratives about Hamas' attack on Israel on October 7th, and of, quote, calling for the destruction of the state of Israel. 22 Democrats voted for the censure motion. 4 Republicans voted against it. And the resolution focused on a social media post that Tlaib had made, accusing President Biden of, quote, genocide, and including a video with the chant, Palace from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, a rallying cry that Hamas uses that expresses its desire for the eradication of the Jewish state of Israel. Tlaib defended herself on the floor of the House in an impassioned speech. She said to her that phrase represented, quote, an aspirational call for freedom, for human rights and peaceful coexistence, and she neared tears as she declared Palestinian people are not disposable. Resolution of censure is a condemnation, a formal rebuke. It will have no practical effect on her ability to do her job, but it is now part of the record and the history of the Congress of the United States.
I mean, free speech being what it is and all, you get to speak freely. She got to speak freely. She said her piece. I don't even know if you've seen the post that that led to this censure motion last night, where Rashida Tlaib was censured for posting this, because in the post, she's actually saying that Joe Biden supports genocide. Now, I hear a lot of this. I hear a lot of this word being thrown around without actually giving what that word really means, the weight and the gravity that it deserves. Just throwing that word around and saying that the president of the United States, who literally got on a plane and went to Netanyahu because he knows Netanyahu's a right-wing douche, okay? He knows he's a racist. Biden does. So he went there almost immediately, knowing after Hamas did what Hamas did, there would have to be, well, there wasn't going to be, any response, really. So everybody understood that there was going to be a response. I mean, to this day, people are sitting there wondering, what did Hamas think would happen? Like, what did they really think they were bringing on? Well, today there's this massive 17-page article in the newspaper. It's in my homework if you want to read it. It's why they did it. They did it because they want perpetual war. They did it because they know that they're not in a position to actually do something genocidal, like kill every single Israeli, which is what they would like to do. They think that Israel exists on stolen land. So does America. But that they will not be happy. They will not be sated. They will not be satisfied. They will not be, living their best life until every single solitary person that isn't from Gaza is removed off of the land from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. That is why that is their slogan. But anyway, she's free to say what she wants to say, I believe, because, Jewish space laser lady says what she wants to say, doesn't she? She actually gets caught on videotape saying, I just came out of the White House where we were planning an insurrection on the United States, right? And posting it's 1776 and Bobert also, same thing. So, but when you speak freely, I want you to understand that there's also an answer to your speech. Your speech, just because it's coming naturally to you, doesn't mean that everyone else has to just shut up about it. Your speech is going to be responded to, and so the only practical response that Congress has is called censure. I don't think it means anything. It has no practical purpose whatsoever. It just when they censured Adam Schiff. Did you hear what I just said? They censured Adam Schiff, and you probably are sitting there going, well, unless you tell me what they censured him for, I certainly don't know. Yeah, well, because they just censured him because he actually led an impeachment hearing against Donald Trump, and they didn't like it. So they censured him because they didn't like it. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. I mean, he's running for Senate, too. He's running for, how soon we forget. I swear to God, I just blanked out on her name. Senator Dianne Feinstein. Thank you. Why am I thanking myself? It was me that actually came up with. Okay, so he's running for Feinstein seat. So is Katie Porter, and so is Barbara Lee. So, okay, I just want to be fair. But he was censured. Now, she was censured, and I don't know. So, the outrage about this is really, it's misplaced. I will tell you, I was just telling Brett my email. I only have, like a few people that are really disgusting with me. Really, really, like this one. Because F you and the Democrats who murdered children for Israel. F white supremacy in the USA and Israel. Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Mike really expects an answer. And, every once in a blue moon, I do write to Mike, and I try to give him an answer, but it's no good. It's of no use. Nothing will penetrate. And Mike doesn't understand that there is a hospital bombing like every 5 minutes in Ukraine. Mike doesn't understand there was a hospital bombing last night in Western Sudan. Okay, he has no idea that a jihadist group, an Arab jihadist group in Darfur, murdered, and it was on it was on videotape. I actually saw it. I watch entirely too much snuff stuff on the internets, but there's no censorship now. There's no hey, be careful, this might trigger you, or hey, be careful, this is inappropriate. Only on YouTube where I post. Like if I show you Rashida Tlaib's post, okay, if I show you that, which she posted on Twitter. It'll be fine on Twitter, but when I play what she posted on Twitter on YouTube, I will get age restricted. At the very least, I will get age restricted. And then I'll get a warning like a day later saying that my video isn't suitable for all advertisers, and so I can't monetize it, right? So it costs me to show you what she could freely show you on Twitter on my show, just so you have context for what was going on last night as we go forward, and you can decide for yourself if something like censure, which has no practical downside to it, has no practical upside to it. It doesn't mean anything, but that she should have been or not be subject for a censure. I don't know. So I'm going to show you what she put on the Twitter. And just so you know, this is fine on Twitter. It's literally okay. But it won't be on YouTube. It just won't. And who am I going to argue with on YouTube? I'd rather argue with Mike. YouTube, you're arguing with, like an algorithm, right?
We stand with Israel.
Mr. President, the American people are not with you on this one.
Innocent civilians are going to be hurt going forward. I wish I could tell you something different. I wish that wasn't going to happen, but it is going to happen.
I want to thank President Biden for his unequivocal support.
We will remember in 2024.
Speak to Randi. Call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Mr. President, the American people are not with you on this one. We will remember in 2024.
That last screen said Joe Biden supported the genocide of the Palestinian people. I know you know the definition of genocide. It is defined as a crime committed with intent to destroy a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. Do you think that's what Israel is doing here?
What's going on right now is a horror show. We don't have to quibble about words. Thousands of men, women, and children are being killed. It has got to end right now. And one of the things that concerns me, Donna, is there has not been enough talk about what right-wing Republicans are doing right now. They don't want any aid to go to the Palestinians. Somebody should be talking about that. Somebody should be talking about how Trump wants to expel Palestinians from this country. So it's, you can disagree with Joe Biden, but on his worst day, he'll be 100 times better than where Trump and the right-wing Republicans.
So you think that Rashida
coming.
Tlaib should save her ire for Trump and the right wing and not her fellow Democrat?
Rashida is a friend of mine. Her family comes from Palestine. I think she has been shaken, as all of us are, about what goes on, is going on right there, right now.
Yeah,
and we have to address that humanitarian crisis. But if anyone thinks that Trump is going to be better than Biden on this issue, or any other issue for that matter, I think they are sorely mistaken.
Randi?
Yeah.
Randi, thank you.
You're welcome. If anybody thinks that Donald Trump's going to be better on the issue of Gaza or better on the issue of people in this country migrating here from war-torn Gaza, you're insane, okay? You're actually out of your freaking mind. She really should direct her hatred and hostility and, her shaken self to attacking the Republicans who don't want a penny. They came up with this package for relief for Israel, and there's not one single red cent in the Republican package for Israel, for the people of Gaza. There's nothing. There's no humanitarian relief at all, not a dime, not a nickel for the people that are being shielded. They're being used as shields for terrorists, for a terrorist group that is doing this to them. And what's really interesting to me is that it was Joe Biden who got on a plane when this first happened. October 7th is when over 1,000 people were murdered by over 2,000 terrorists that came into southern Israel. Okay. So Joe Biden understood there's going to be a war now. Okay, Netanyahu is a right-wing lunatic. He's a fringy guy. He's a racist guy. His whole cabinet is filled with extremists, right-wing extremists and racists. Ben Gvir, the whole, and there's going to be, trouble there. And the people of Gaza are going to be used as human shields by a terrorist group. We have to figure out a way to get aid in there. So that's why he got on a plane. He went to Israel to say to Israelis, to say to the government of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu and his whole cabinet, okay, here's what's going to happen if you want American, support here. And I'm not just talking about dollars, because if you're following this very closely, then you know that Netanyahu said, keep your freaking money, U.S. I don't even want your money. So it isn't about money, okay? Biden went over there and said, if you want the support of the United States and, the allies in this world for what you're about to do, okay, you must, not siege them. Meaning, remember they were talking about no food, no what? And I said, I will never accept that. That is like super Stalin-esque. That is real Stalin type brutality. And so that's when Biden got on a plane and went there and said, no, you're not going to starve people. No, you're not going to do that. You have to be persuaded to see the value of letting the aid in. That's why I'm here. You need to let the aid in. And you're going to need to have a pause in hostilities regularly until hostages are released. Well, when that got out, that's what Biden was doing over there, that's when Hamas said, oh, okay, so we can let 2 hostages out and buy time that way. And so they played that game. And then everybody got hip to the fact that Hamas was going to trickle out, a hostage here and a hostage there and blah, 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 and this and that. And Biden had to say to Netanyahu, who cares? Who cares? The hostages come first. You must get them out of there. Once you start bombing, softening them up for the invasion, there's no chance. You don't even know where the hostages are, so there's no chance of getting them out in a battle, when there's a live battle going on. And Netanyahu's like, oh, go bite me. You know what I mean? Get him. He's not taking any of our advice. Period. End of story. That is not happening. Hamas is not taking any of our advice. That is not happening. These 2 waging warrior sides are going to fight to the death. And we can go to hell. So I'm not sure why people are accusing Joe Biden of supporting genocide when truly, Hamas is going to fight until there are no more Israelis in Israel. That's how long and hard they will fight. That is what Hamas believes in. That is what Hamas says they believe in. And when you read these 17 pages today about why they did it, this is why they did it. They want to end the whole entire country. They want everybody dead on that land. That's just a thing with them. It's who they are. It's what they do. They are a terrorist organization. And they happen to also be the government over there. And why she's not pissed off at the government over there, because I don't know what in the world people who can't denounce Hamas but can say Joe Biden is committing genocide or supports the commission of genocide, which is ridiculous, because people who say you have to get aid in there, people who say, you have to do this, the way that you do this matters, the way that you approach these terrorists matters, the posture that you hold yourself out for battle with terrorists matters. Because if you do it the way you're doing it, if you do it the most brutal, disgusting way, and too many children are being pulled out of rubble, because they will use the civilians as a human shield. Hamas said they're not interested in the Palestinian people. They've actually said that out loud. I don't know how many people are watching what they say, but they said that they're not at all interested in the preservation of life in Gaza. They're interested in the destruction of Israel. And that they actually said this. I have it. I'll play it for you on the way back, okay? Bump it out of this break. I will play it for you. where the leader of Hamas is sitting there saying, look, the people of Gaza are martyrs. They know they're martyrs. In fact, 75% of them are actual refugees. What? Yeah, 75% of them are actual refugees. And so therefore, the burden of taking care of them is not ours. No, the burden of taking care of them is the United Nations burden. The UN should come and take care of them. I'm not taking care of them. I'm telling them that we come from a long line of martyrs, and they know that, and they're willing to be martyred. And you know, when they report death on their media, it's martyrs.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Something that has concerned us greatly, something that we have wondered about ever since Hamas brutally attacked so many Israeli civilians on October 7th, is what exactly did Hamas think the Israeli military would do in response to that? Did they not anticipate that Israel would retaliate? Did they not anticipate Israel would retaliate in a way that would cause innocent Palestinians in Gaza to die? Especially given the fact that, as has been established by Israeli intelligence, U.S. intelligence, and journalists who have visited Gaza, the fact that Hamas embeds within the Palestinian population. What did they think would happen? It turns out that a Saudi journalist asked the spokesman for Hamas that very question. His response was quite telling in terms of Hamas's concerns about Palestinian lives.
Dear sister, nations are not easily liberated. The Russians sacrificed 30 million people in World War II in order to liberate it from Hitler's attack. The Vietnamese sacrificed 3.5 million people until they defeated the Americans. Afghanistan sacrificed millions of martyrs to defeat the USSR and then the US. The Algerian people sacrificed 6 million martyrs over 130 years. The Palestinian people are just like any other nation. No nation is liberated without sacrifices.
No nation is liberated without sacrifices. Not exactly an expression of regret for innocent Palestinian deaths. A journalist from Russia Today, a Russian state media outlet, asked Musa Abu Marzouk from the Hamas Political Bureau, quote, "You have built 500 kilometers of tunnels in Gaza. Why haven't you built bomb shelters where Palestinian civilians can hide during bombardment?" And here's how Hamas responded.
We have built the tunnels because we have no other way of protecting ourselves from being targeted and killed. These tunnels are meant to protect us from the airplanes. We are fighting from inside the tunnels. Everybody knows that 75% of the people in the Gaza Strip are refugees. And it is the responsibility of the United Nations to protect them.
I mean, honestly, everybody, they don't give a damn about the people in Gaza, Hamas. They are a terrorist group. They say, oh, it's not our responsibility to have bomb shelters after we go into Israel and attack, knowing there's going to be retaliation for killing over 1,000 people and kidnapping. They kidnap babies. They still have them. They have a 6-month-old, a 9-month-old. They've got, Grandma Sylvia, who is a peace activist. I mean, it's just so sad and sick what they've done, okay? And they knew that there would be retaliation. That was one of my first things that I told you. What did they think was going to happen? Remember, I didn't think to ask why didn't they build bomb shelters for their civilians so that they could actually hide in a place that isn't the hospital. Interesting, right? Because they don't feel that it's their job to take care of these people. They said the man just sat there, this freaking terrorist sat there in front of your face just there and said, well, everybody knows the people of Palestine are, refugees. From where? From there. I mean, and it's not our job to take care of them. It's the United Nations' job. And the UN has taken care of them. The The UN has schools there. The UN has hospitals there. The UN has all kinds of healthcare clinics there, because these people who are terrorists won't take care of their own people. And idiot boy before him was sitting there telling you, hey, we're a nation of martyrs. Everybody understands it. They know they're going to have to martyr themselves. It's the price of freedom is what it is. Look at, 30 million dead in Russia. Look at that. Look at that there. I mean, these are some bloodthirsty freaks of nature, okay? They are terrorists. And any of their techniques, whether it's rape or beheading or cutting off a kid's foot while he's sitting having breakfast with his family in front of his parents, or cutting his sister's fingers off while she's sitting there having breakfast with her father and mother, or then executing their father and mother in front of them and then them, that is not resistance. That is freaking terrorism. Okay? And as it's not even an intellectual pursuit. It's a logic thing. You knew, and they knew, that if they did these things, there would be retaliation. And they didn't do jack crap to protect the people they claim to be resisting. Because they're terrorists, okay? It is their entire way of making money. Money. And I just want to throw this also into the equation. When you decide, it's very hard to pick a side here. And here's why. Netanyahu is a racist, extremist, right-wing freak. He is Donald Trump. I keep telling you this. I have absolutely no respect for him. Again, the things he's saying, the things he's allowing to be said, the posture that he's holding himself in, the choice of the attack plan that he chose, which was the most brutal of all of them, the siege mentality, and actually deploying it as a real tactic against people who have been used as human shields on the inside of it. For me, you can't choose. You can't. They're equally gross. They're equally disgusting examples of they're perfect examples of the cruelty man, can do to man. That's all they're good for. Is to look at the literal cruelty that man is capable of deploying against his fellow human being. That is all the only use I have for any of these people. But, so I can't pick a side. But I will tell you what Biden did. Biden went there, and you know what the first thing he said to them was? First of all, you're going to put a bipartisan war cabinet in place because Bibi is crazy, okay? He's a sick psycho. He's a mofo. He's a racist. We cannot let Netanyahu be the only one in the room, okay? We can't. He is the prime minister, and we get that, and whatever is chosen will be his choice, but we have to be in the room. You guys have got to show up, be in the room, and try to influence him away from starving people to death. You have to. And so they agreed to have a war cabinet, sort of bipartisan-ish. But I have to tell you, there's no Labor Party. There's no Democratic Party in Israel anymore. There used to be. There used to be a thriving, what the Brits call labor, what the Israelis call labor in their parliament, what we call Democrats. But it doesn't exist there anymore. Everything is, right, and then center right, and then religious right, and then secular right, and it's all the right. Everybody's in the right. Everybody's right. Not the people, the government. And then Hamas, oh my God. So... But Biden went there and said, you're not going to starve the people, okay? This is going to have some major blowback. I don't know why you're even choosing it. It makes no sense except, well, I need to look tough, okay? It's one of those Trumpian things, right, where there's no thought about the repercussions because you're above it all. It doesn't apply to you. And he was so embarrassed about, his calling card was, only I can keep you safe. Only I can. Oops.
Fatality. This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
The Biden administration would argue that a pause allowing innocent Palestinians to flee and allowing humanitarian supplies to get into Gaza, that's one thing, but that stopping the Israeli campaign against Hamas, which is what a ceasefire would be, stopping it would be another. Here's how former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton put it at an event at the Baker Institute.
People who are calling for a ceasefire now do not understand Hamas. That is not possible. It would be such a gift to Hamas because they would spend whatever time there was a ceasefire in effect rebuilding their armaments, creating stronger positions to be able to fend off an eventual assault by the Israelis.
But, don't take her word for it. Ghazi Hamad, a member of Hamas's political bureau, told Lebanese TV that the Al-Aqsa flood, that's what Hamas called the October 7th attack.
This is just the first time, and there will be a second, a third, a fourth, because we have the determination, the resolve, and the capabilities to fight. Will we have to pay a price? Yes, and we are ready to pay it. We are called a nation of martyrs, and we are proud to sacrifice martyrs.
So, Hamas, which is the government of Gaza, based on their own words, A, they think the loss of Palestinian civilian lives is just the cost of liberation. B, they think that even though they're the government of Gaza, it's not their responsibility to protect Palestinian civilians. The tunnels are for themselves,
right,
for fighting,
right,
not for civilians.
Right.
And C, they're determined to continue attacking Israel the same way they did on October 7th, over and over and over, based on what they say. So for these reasons, Israel says, we can't have a ceasefire. Listen to what they say. So they're pushing forward with their ground incursion into Gaza. From the point of view of Israel, they hear all the calls for a ceasefire. What they do not hear is anyone in the international community proposing any way for them to get back their 240 hostages that Hamas kidnapped. They don't hear anyone proposing any way for Hamas to be removed from the leadership of Gaza. Israel sees the parades and the rallies for the ceasefire, and they see no parades and no rallies for the return of the hostages or the removal of Hamas.
And there you have it. That is what they're saying. That is what they say on Al Arabiya. That is what they say on Lebanese TV. That is what they say when they're, on. There used to be a channel. It was called Link TV. They just stopped broadcasting, and they used to broadcast all kinds of, Arab nations news. I used to be able to see Iranian news, and it was crazy. I used to love it. My family would mock me because I would watch Mosaic. And but I love listening to like what they were saying, because they were actually telling their populations things like why they must cover and how, to raise their children and, to prepare their children to be suicide bombers. People forget that the Intifada, which, out in the street, that is what the protesters, the Palestinian, pro-Palestinian protesters are calling for. They're calling for a global intifada. An intifada is a very violent thing to be calling for. It's extremely blood-soaked, an intifada. It includes kids, children, strapping on suicide vests with bombs and, bearings, ball bearings, and thumbtacks and all that, so that when the bombs explode, all of this debris is spread and you can harm the most number of people. And of course, your kid is dead. But the mothers were being told, that they would be, given extra bread. They would be, treated as, the martyr's mother. All of this faux concern. I just really, it blows my mind that there's so much concern for a terrorist organization. And you go, oh no, we're just for the people of Palestine, for Gaza. Well, the people of Gaza need to know that the Arab world is there for them. You know what they say? You know what they're screaming on their, broadcasts over there? They're saying, why isn't anybody coming to help us? Where is Jordan? Where is Egypt? Where is Lebanon? Where is Syria? Where are they? Why aren't they coming to help us? Michael in California.
Randy, I just wanted to say, yes, Hamas is a terrorist organization, and what they did was a terrible thing. But Israel well, not Israel, but Netanyahu and the IDF is also a terrorist organization.
I don't know
They
about the
killed-
IDF. I do know that Netanyahu is an extremist. He is bloodthirsty. He's an extremist. He failed miserably, and now he needs to appear very strong, and that's at the expense of the same people that Hamas sacrifices.
Can I say something, please? The IDF is his military, and they have murdered over 10,000 Palestinians.
Well, the United States military has, in your words, murdered. I hardly think of it as murder, but
We have, honey.
a million Iraqis. Okay, a million.
I participated in the Vietnam
So, are you
War.
a terrorist?
Yes, I am. I am a former member of the
and
United
I am
States
too, and my dad
military.
is. Okay, all right. all
That
right.
makes me a terrorist.
It makes you confused.
No, I'm not confused.
Yeah,
honey.
you are confused. You
I
didn't.
spent
You
a year
didn't
in
follow
Vietnam.
illegal orders. You didn't.
No.
So you're not a terrorist,
and right.
okay? No.
And I had the right. I had the right to refuse those orders, but I didn't, and I followed them anyway. And we killed innocent Vietnamese people. We killed innocent Afghans. We've killed innocent Iraqis.
We also
And
killed
until-
terrorists
And until
who were
this
being
country-
shielded by the population, okay? We also killed terrorists in Fallujah that hung people from bridges and burnt them alive, okay?
Killing-
So, when you start to burn people alive, you kind of expect that you're going to see a military force coming at you. And I don't consider that murder, okay? So, get your vocabulary straight and stop beating yourself up about you're a terrorist too. You didn't follow illegal orders. Okay, you didn't. You followed a president who lied us into an authorization to use military force against a country that didn't do anything to us. But it was authorized by, listen, if Netanyahu ends up at The Hague for war crimes, I'm not going to shed a tear. But the IDF, this is a bunch of volunteer kids. Okay, they're young kids for the most part. Some of them are 50-year-old men because they do accept them in the IDF. It's conscription. Everybody is required to do a tour of duty in Israel. Everybody is conscripted for a period of time in their life. Don't throw words around like with the IDF is a terrorist force. That's bizarre. That's bat-crap crazy. That means no military is a legitimate military. No defensive force is ever allowed, and no offensive force is ever. You're insane. Andrew in Florida.
Andy here. Hi, Randy.
Hi.
First time caller.
Hey.
It sounds like you're not for a ceasefire. And more.
I don't know what that
maybe-
means. When you say ceasefire, are you saying a truce? You're saying that it just ends here and now and that's it, and then they negotiate the spoils, or
the word ceasefire sounds like it's like more than 3 days. It's like a week or a month. But a pause of 3
but
days.
why? Why? What would you? I mean, what do you have to have happen before you would agree to something like that? Like, are we saying? Because I know what we're saying. We're saying we want
release the hostages.
Right, and they're saying okay. So it goes both ways. So the Israelis are saying to Hamas, "You release the hostages, we'll call a ceasefire," and Hamas is saying, "We'll release the hostages after a ceasefire." So they're talking past each other. So no hostages are getting released. Now, if I saw somebody say, okay, this is what we're going to do to release 240 innocent people, I would be for that. But nobody is saying that.
Nobody's come up with it yet, in other words.
They have. It's on the table. Nobody agrees to it. I mean, one says one thing has to happen before the other, and the other says, no, I wanted it exactly the opposite way.
Well, how do we end that? By having you should have a pause in the meantime while they figure that out.
A pause also has to be negotiated. What will you accomplish during the pause? And that's what Blinken is doing. That's our role in it. Okay, we are we're supposed to be, and we are the broker. This is not our war. Okay, we didn't start it, and we won't end it. What we're doing is trying to broker some sort of a release of innocent people from being used as human shields over there and from being kept in a tunnel away from their families over there. That's what we're doing. That's what the United States does if you have a legitimate president, which we do. And I wish people would stop calling him a terrorist.